Hi, everyone. Today, I want to talk about content marketing. We've all been sort of doing it. Maybe some of us, maybe not all of us. In the association and event world, some of us do it better than others, and some of us don't do it at all. In, business world outside of events, it's becoming more predominant. So, what I want to talk about is clearly defining, at least in my opinion, what content marketing is and isn't, and then later on, we can start going into how to create effective copy. So let's start with the definition of content marketing, right? It's the process of delivering relevant information. Think of how to's, ebooks, white papers, anything that's going to answer the question of what's in it for me? How do I gain knowledge from this, right? From the reader's standpoint, that you can then distribute to your entire audience. Now, all of this is based off of an informed decision to create themes and topics for your content marketing. You have to have analysis done to figure out what your people actually want to consume. So, if we're not doing this analysis, are we actually being effective at content marketing? Are we actually doing content marketing? Or are we doing what most of us do, and it's called marketing and sales copy? There's a huge difference between there. And the difference between content marketing and marketing copy and sales copy is that content marketing isn't specifically selling something. It's helping someone gain knowledge and answer the question, what's in it for me, as they are reading it? What can they get out of it? And how can they learn something? So if we listen to what Joe Pulizzi says from Content Marketing Institute, he defines content marketing as this: content marketing is a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. Right? This is a long-term strategy. Content marketing isn't something that you do for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. It's a year, 2 years, 3 years strategy that you keep going because you want to become an actual thought leader in the industry. So let's talk about a little bit more. When you deliver content marketing that is of value, right? You've done your analysis, you've done the research, you figured out the content that your audience really wants to consume, how they want to consume it as well. Content marketing isn't just about blogs or ebooks or everything written. It can be about videos, audio, podcast. Videos right now are the most consumed. So really what you should be doing is taking your article and creating a video and a podcast out of it. That way, people that like to consume from audio only can listen to it. Or if they want video, they can watch and listen at the same time, and then obviously read it if they can. So what content marketing does is it actually builds brand equity. So what do we mean by that? Right? A lot of times right now, when people are looking, right, and they're searching, oh, who should I do business with? What should I do? It's about 14 touch points. Pre-COVID, it used to be about 7, but now it's 14 touch points. And they need to know that you are a trusted authority in the space. So by delivering content marketing, one, it's going to help you obviously show up, when people are searching for key terms and whatnot, but it's going to build your brand equity because they're going to read, right, and consume or watch and listen to your how-tos, to your information that is going to answer the main question of what's in it for me, for them. And therefore your brand equity builds because you're not trying to sell them, you're trying to help them. Key difference: help, not sell. So what is content marketing not? It's not marketing copy and it's not sales copy. It's not meant to go ahead and say, buy my product or service, right? It's not meant to have consulting jargon in there. It's meant to be clear, defined, concise messaging. It's meant for everybody to be able to answer this question: have I learned something from consuming this piece of content? Ultimately, they want their question answered of what they typed into Google and then they clicked on, your article or your video. They need their answers or their questions answered. And that's what your content does. So content marketing isn't meant to sell. It isn't marketing copy. It isn't consulting jargon. Ultimately, content marketing will drive revenue and sales for you because you're building that brand equity. So understand that. What else does it do? You become a thought leader, right? So then at some point, whoever is creating your content, whether it's multiple people in your organization, right, they're going to be asked to speak at different events. Well, that's becoming a thought leader as well. Whether you're speaking at events or online like this all the time, you're still a thought leader in the industry if people are consuming your content, right? Thought leadership is subject to the individual. So you don't need to be a thought leader to a million people, but you can be a thought leader to 100, 200 people in your space. They're consuming your content and they see you as the most relevant and valuable. Also understand that every piece of content that you create is a financial asset. It's yours. So from a marketing standpoint, you can choose to gate that content or keep it ungated or do a hybrid version of it, right? Things like this, where you're trying to put as much information out there and become thought leaders, you probably want to keep it ungated so as many people can see it and then build your brand equity, your thought leadership. There's other forms of content that you do want to collect leads from: email addresses, names, companies, job titles, things like that, right? That's where you can gate it and make sure that they're filling out the form to have them. A lot of times you'll see ebooks, right? Those are gated forms of content marketing that you want to make sure you're collecting some information. Now, there's people out there that'll say ungate everything or gate everything. You need to pick and choose based on your audience, based on your industry, what is going to be the most effective. So let's go back to the beginning when we said that content marketing is a long-term strategy. This requires a huge shift, a huge mind shift, right? Because every time that we talk about marketing, every time we talk about sales, it needs to fit into what? Attribution buckets. Oh, my sale needs to be attributed to X, Y, and Z, and my marketing budget is attributed to the ad dollars that I'm spending. And how do I attribute it to marketing and content and all of this? Well, obviously, the more the views you're getting on your content, you can look at that as attribution, but it's not all about attribution. It's about the long-term strategy of saying you're a thought leader in the industry, and when you become a thought leader in the industry, you're the go-to organization for anything of value. That is huge. That is much bigger than we all even remotely understand at this point in time. So keep that in mind. So let's talk about why it's an entire mind shift, right? And a long-term strategy. Here are some things to help you to understand that. Website growth. So companies that have blogs, resources, videos, on average, 434% more index pages than those do not. So what does that mean? It means because you're consuming so much content, right? Google is saying this page is indexed, this page is indexed, this page is indexed. So you're going to show up in more searches. What it also means is that you have 7.8 times higher growth than those who do not. Content marketing is powerful for your website alone. Now think about spreading that across and distributing it effectively across all of the channels. Social, right? Includes YouTube, Reddit, any of those, wherever the analysis takes you, wherever your audience is. It's a leaner budget. Well, some might say, well, the time I spend on creating the content, might take more. Well, that's true, but that's also the staff that's on hand. And so content marketing, through a bunch of different stats out there, says 3x times more leads than paid search advertising. Why? We need to understand the difference between paid ads and intent-based, right? When somebody searches for something, they're in an immediate need for it. So if I said, and I went on Google, I said, what is content marketing? And I clicked on, my article right here. That's an intent. I'm trying to figure out what content marketing is. Now on my blog, I have, hey, do you want us to help with your content marketing? So I'm not selling while I'm teaching, but at the end of it, I am saying, we do this, right? We can help you if you need immediate help. So keep that in mind. 3 times more likely because I taught them something of value. And then I asked them if they need help. And most of the time, the answer is, yes, I need help because you're an expert on this and I'm still learning. Keep that in mind. Paid search is meant to interrupt the individuals, right? We all zombie scroll. That's what social media really is. It's not like you're actually going on to Facebook or Instagram to look for what is content marketing. What you're doing is to look and zombie scroll about all the fun things. Then an ad pops up and you see it and you're like, oh, well, that's kind of interesting, but it's meant to interrupt the scrolling as opposed to the intent-based search, right? Keep that in mind. Higher conversion rates, right? Content marketing can expect 6 times higher conversion rates. Why? Because you're getting the buyer in a stage where they are actively looking, intent. Keep that in mind. Intent, intent, intent. That's why content marketing is the most powerful and why you need to be doing it, whether it's, again, written, audio, or video, or a mix of all. More eyeballs. 40% of the internet users read blogs daily. That's a lot. Now, it's not saying that you're going to have people reading your blog daily or that you have to produce daily posts, right? We do one a week. We see that as bringing in enough traffic for us. You need to figure out based on your audience, right? People's time are pretty valuable. So your content needs to be of value to them in order for them to even say, I want to look at it every day. Buyers crave content in the decision-making process, building trust, brand equity. That all comes into play in the full circle of the 14 touch points of building the actual decision. So if you're teaching them, they're going to understand something. Once they understand it, they're going to remember, hopefully, who helped them understand it. And if they need additional help, who are they going to go to? The people that taught them. That's why we have mentors, professors, right? That's why so many of us out there go back to our old teachers and say, hey, can you actually help me understand X, Y, and Z? That's the power of teaching. So thank you to all our teachers out there, our professors, universities, everybody. The power of that and the power of content marketing is that it's going to help them. People always remember who helped them. Thought leadership we talked about, but all of this is part of that long-term strategy. So keep that in mind. So why does content marketing matter? Well, it matters because your audience says it matters. It matters because they need to consume pieces of information to even remotely trust you first. They need to understand that you're not there just to sell them, to only give them what you want to give them. They need to understand that you're there to make sure that their lives are going to become better. And that's where content comes in. So people like your audience, they like the stories, how X, Y, and Z overcame the challenge. Remember that as you're putting your content marketing together, that it's going to answer the question of what's in it for me. And as you're putting together the content, remember how people like to consume, right? They want to be the hero in the story. So show them how they can be the hero because now they have the information to overcome the challenge that they searched for in the beginning. So what is content marketing? It's honestly anything that your audience really wants it to be. But content marketing isn't something that's going to market to them or sell to them. It's something that's going to provide value and that's going to answer the main question of what's in it for me? What am I learning today? So I hope you enjoyed this. What is content marketing? I'll see you next time.